You are listening to Fly FM, Taking Youth Places, proudly sponsored by AIFT Institute for Future Tech, and you have Yudhesh Debidiyal on the line with you today at Fly FM, Taking Youth Places. Today we have an exciting episode of Career Talk, the show that's all about empowering you with the right skills, knowledge, and opportunities to take your future to the next level. Remember that Fly FM is not just a radio station, it's a movement, and whether you are tuning in from Johannesburg, Cape Town, or Durban, you can stream us live via www.flyfm.co.za. Today we have a very special guest joining us in studio. She is a seasoned executive and non-executive director who currently runs her own consultancy. She also does consulting for businesses in human resource management, and she serves on the board for the Durban Chamber of Commerce, second vice president, and she also sits on the Senate board for AIFT Institute for Future Tech. Her name is the beautiful Miss Jackie Barnard. So hello, Jackie, and welcome to Fly FM. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Judy. That's so flattering. But it's really exciting to be here, and thank you for having me here. Mm-hmm. And I'm really flattered to be representing AIFT today. I think more importantly, our audience is a very young audience, and I'm very aware that I'm speaking to the youth. And it's really great that you are doing work with the youth, because I think there's so many opportunities and we need to empower them, get them some exposure, get them to learn. So I really hope they will get something out of today's session with you, and I'm really excited to be talking to them.
Most definitely. It's great to have you here as well. So Jackie, to start, could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay. So I'll talk to a lot of people focus on their careers and business and who they are and what defines them at work. But I think what I've learned over the years, because you did use the word seasoned, I think that there are two parts to people. In fact, more than two, but I'll talk about two of the main aspects. I think on the one hand, we have a personal life. And then on the other hand, we have a business life, and both are equally important. On the personal side, I am married to a wonderful person, Mahesh, and we have a beautiful daughter, Karina, who's 23 years old. And at this moment, she's writing her final exams to become a medical doctor.
Oh, wow.
Apart from that, I love sport. I used to play sport at every possible moment when I was younger. I played volleyball, and today, well, I can't play volleyball because you have to be a lot younger and fitter. Yeah. I play some golf, and I love going to the gym, and I love cycling. So those are some of the things I do. I love my family. I entertain them a lot. They entertain me a lot. So I love people. I love socializing. You know, as human beings, we are social beings.
Agreed.
So that's the one part of me. On the other hand, I have a business life. I started working at a very young age. As soon as I finished university, I started working, and I was extremely lucky to be employed in the most exciting organizations, both global and local. And I learned so much from both sides of the coin. In my last career, my last job, I was asked to join them whilst I was at a motor company, because I lived and worked in the motor industry for all my life, and I loved motor cars. I loved working there. As an employee in the motor industry, we would get cars, drive cars, test cars. It was just the most amazing thing. And then after being there for a number of years, I was asked to join a sugar company, which is an agri-processing company. Can you imagine going from high technology machinery to the most beautiful, from the most beautiful cars to sugar?
Yeah.
But at the time, the HR director contacted me and said, Jackie, we'd really like you to join us, and I can promise you that within the next 5 years, you can actually be our HR director. I didn't quite believe him, but I didn't think it would happen that quickly.
Yeah.
And I thought it was actually a bit of a promise coming from working as a senior leader and having that discussion. Anyway, I joined this amazing organization, which I absolutely loved. And talk about cars. The technology in the sugar industry was just unbelievable. The factories employ heavy machinery that operate 24/7. They employ high-level engineers, technicians, and so on. And I absolutely just loved my time there. I was terrified, I must say, and so to the youth out there, what can be frightening and what you think might be impossible for you is not the case. I was young when I was asked to be a director in a large company. I didn't think I'd get there, and amazingly, it happened. So when you think that you can't do it, you may not be able to do it, I can tell you now, Nelson Mandela said, you'll never know it's possible until it's done. And I loved my time in that organization. I was there for 20 years. During that time, I know 20 years is probably older than some of you may be. But
I mean, I'm 23, so
So you were 3 when I joined them. But I think the beauty of working at that level as a director is that you then, as you pay it forward, you do more than just your job. So in that role, I assumed roles on boards of government organizations, committees in those organizations, committees in the sugar industry, boards like the Durban Chamber. I've spent a number of years on committees, as heads of committees. It is just an amazing roller coaster. I loved it. And 4 years ago, I decided, I want to dance to my own drum beat now. And I want to work with young kids. I want to work with people beyond just this industry. I want to do a lot more. So that's what I did. I packed my bags and joined Jackie Barner Consulting. Well, I can tell you it was terrifying. It was totally terrifying because you start with absolutely nothing and you don't know where you're headed. But what you do know is that you've always made a success of what you've done because of how you've set about doing that. So to the youngsters, I want to say that the world is changing, that corporates don't employ the most people. That we have youngsters with great cognitive capability, great brain capability, great ideas. We live in a tech world. There's so many new things happening daily. And so we need to think about what it is that we can do, not necessarily what can companies do for us. And there's just a minefield of life and opportunity out there. So if you look at Elon Musk, for example, Mark Zuckerberg, all of those guys, they came up with the ideas and they are flying and leading the way in that space. And you'll find that in the world today, tech is leading the way. Tech is where the opportunities are. Organizations, some of them have failed because they haven't kept up with tech. So that's a little story about my life. So I'm dancing to my own drum beat now. I own a company that does coaching, mentorship, mental health counseling, and business and management consulting. I absolutely love coaching. My coach said to me, coaching is one of the most powerful forces for change in the world. Everybody needs coaching. And what I'm finding is that there's just such a need. People in organizations join and they have difficulty fitting in. And there's just not anybody really who can help them, or they don't have the courage to ask for help because they feel, well, they need to be able to do that. They struggle with their jobs. So they need coaching to be great employees. They need coaching to manage their managers. It's not always easy. A lot of us are terrified. We feel vulnerable. I've coached a lot of people on the imposter syndrome, where people feel that they aren't good enough, and yet most of those people are actually pretty competent. So I've done a lot of coaching across the various spectrums with people really, really struggling and not knowing who to turn to. I've absolutely loved that part of the work that I'm doing now. Secondly, I've done a lot of mentorship of graduates, a lot of graduates into the business without knowing which way to turn. Often it may sound silly, but some of them don't even know how to dress.
Certainly.
You know, and it sounds simple and it sounds basic, it sounds elementary, but we've gone through a range of topics, and it has been so amazingly rewarding to work with those graduates who are super bright, who are super ambitious, who are very enthusiastic, and they just need help with transitioning from being a student to being a worker, an employee, a person in the business world. So that has been really great. And the feedback has just been so rewarding with those individuals. And I've done a number of them. I've done groups for organizations, I've done individuals for organizations, and the feedback has been really positive. The next thing I do is mental health counseling now and coaching. Now, mental health is something that we're talking about a lot,
Yeah.
but I don't know how much is being done to assist people with dealing with their mental health.
Yeah.
And if anything, that has been one of the other great loves of what I've been doing. So I've taken it as far as volunteering to do mental health counseling. I do that on a weekly basis. And for me, it's the greatest leveler in the world when you work with people who have such serious worldly issues, and you're able to help them get across the line. So initially I said to colleagues, I find it amazing that, you know, they don't have anybody to speak to.
Yeah.
Or they can't speak to anybody. Or how can there be so many people in the world who don't have other people? And what some of them said was quite revolutionary. They said, well, possibly some of them do have others to speak to. They just don't want to be vulnerable out there. They really don't want to show their vulnerabilities. So I find that, you know, you play a huge role in people's lives when you help them through some of the really serious issues they have. And for that, I think I have a lot of the qualities that it takes to be a good counselor, a good coach, a good listener. The first thing is that you have to build trust. People have to be able to trust you if they talk to you. And I can tell you that the problems people have are just, it will blow your mind. In fact, it'll sound unbelievable. So, Yudi, to answer your question, that's my life. That's a little bit about myself.
That's not even a little. That's amazing. That is brilliant. It sounds like you have such extensive experience as well. So remember that you are listening to Fly FM, taking youth places, and we are a youth empowerment channel that is not geographically limited. We broadcast live from Durban to the world via www.flyfm.co.za. Fly FM content empowers listeners with good music, career, and lifestyle opportunities. If you are getting this content on social media, then please subscribe to our pages at flyfm_ZA. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support really does help us empower more youth as well. Our studio WhatsApp line is 083-756-2625, so feel free to get in touch. And our social media handles are at flyfm_ZA on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. For general inquiries, you can email us on info@flyfm.co.za. So remember that we are still in this podcast with Jackie Bana and, of course, myself, Yudhesh Debidayal. And Jackie, given your extensive background, what specifically attracted you to the role at AIFT Institute for Future Tech?
Okay, so AIFT Institute for Future Tech is one of the most exciting organizations that I have actually worked with. I spoke extensively about my world of work in the motor industry, engineering industry, agricultural industry, and all of them play a huge role in our economy today. But AIFT is different. You know, I'm a baby boomer.
Yeah.
You know, you can see that. we are afraid of technology.
Yeah.
If you say, make a note of something, we grab out our pen and our page and off we write. And if you look in our meetings, your baby boomers will sit with their pen and paper, and the younger guys will sit with their laptops and cell phones. When you go to functions and people give speeches, we take our paper and read our speech, and the youngsters will read off their cell phones.
Yeah.
Part of the reason for that being difficult for us is that you must be able to see that small script, right?
By the way, there's a way to increase font size as well.
But then you got to move this thing up and down. Anyway, so AIFT, what is the attraction? I think for me, it's that it's a different type of organization. It's a future-focused organization.
Yeah.
It's an organization where they say that it's a place where innovation meets excellence. They deal with current challenges like cybersecurity, robotics, building websites. So people like us need bright young minds like that to do that kind of thing. Creatives, they all jobs that were never available in our day, but they're absolutely vital today. So for me, it's a world that's out of my comfort zone, and what I love is that I'm actually learning every day. I used to feel a bit terrified about it, but now I'm totally excited. I mean, the COO and the CEO are older people, even older than me, but to hear them talk about technology and the use of technology and what it can do and what it does, it gives me something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And the staff who literally I've met with most of your leadership are just an exciting bunch of bright buttons, that you can work with and be excited about doing the work that you do.
Yeah.
So that is mostly about AIFT and what attracts me to it. Yeah.
No, definitely, I agree with you. And remember that on AIFT, social media handles for AIFT, AIFT_Institute. And if you are seeing our content on AIFT's page as well, you'll see that I am a program coordinator for the highest certificate in digital marketing and social media. So if you are willing to study that course with AIFT, it is 1 year. 1 year full-time and 2 years part-time. It goes via contact, distance, and blended for your convenience at NQF level 5 with 120 credits. So if you do want to register for that course, you can give us a call on 086-181-9266, or you can give me a call as well on 061-719-4590. So remember that if you are looking for any course as well, you can still give us a call on those numbers. We are more than happy to assist you to get your career started. And we are still not live. We are recording this podcast as usual with Miss Jackie Bana, who is here in our studio with me, of course, Yudhesh Debidiyal, your favorite career guidance presenter. So what do you hope to achieve at AIFT by the end of this year?
Okay, so I spoke to you about what attracted me to AIFT, and I think, the points I mentioned had a lot to do with its leadership and staff, and I think that will, without a doubt, rub off onto students. So any student wanting to study technology and study at AIFT, well, I can tell you they have a very exciting cohort of lecturers, educators that you can engage with. What am I hoping to achieve with AIFT? I was asked by the CEO, a bright, future-thinking individual who leads that organization and who's deeply committed to building a team of high-performing staff. So he asked me to help with communicating the strategy of AIFT to his team. Now, often you find that strategies are often communicated in organizations to a select group of people, or it isn't done as thoroughly as Jay wanted this to be done. So the first thing he did was develop the strategy, and then he wanted us to communicate the strategy, build a framework for implementing the strategy, build capability around capstone projects. So there's a methodology to do projects, and then to build the KPAs and KPIs, which they are measured on.
Yeah.
Well, I went through that process with him for his leadership team, and it was extremely exciting and challenging. And so we're at a point where the strategy is understood. All of the KPIs for their leaders have been developed, and those KPIs, which are key performance indicators, are now being executed. For you youngsters out there, what it does do is that you are given a job, you have a job description, which you get, but within that job description, you are given key areas to deliver on. And so that was developed. And the exciting thing is that it's linked to what the overall strategy and goals of the business are. Right. So that was the first thing I did. The second part of this was to do coaching for every single manager, every single school campus leader, on their KPAs, we looked at 10 of the top most competencies for leaders in 2025 and beyond. We had a discussion on their KPIs, and then we had a discussion on their assessment of their capability in those KPIs and behaviors. So what are those behaviors? In today's world, people talk about EQ or emotional intelligence. What does it actually mean? So that is a really big thing. And especially for youngsters, often they're unaware of their behavior, the impact of their behavior on others. But when you become a leader and when you start to work in the AIFT world, you need to understand that actually you need to be self-aware, which is a component of EQ.
Certainly.
Do I know what the impact that I'm having on others? My behavior, how I show up, how I dress, perform, behave, speak. I need to, so our AIFT, one of our values and one of our competencies is to build that EQ. Am I aware of my behavior on others? Am I aware that I am not bringing out the best in others? In one of my early coaching assignments, I coached a newly appointed school principal. And school principals work with stakeholders, governing bodies, teachers, parents, pupils, etc. And so she was newly appointed and didn't really understand leadership. The first thing she said to me was, "Well, Jackie, I am not a people pleaser." And that gave me really good insight into her understanding of her role on others. When you're a leader, you actually need to bring people along with you, not show them that you are the boss and you're not going to submit to them. And I think even with youngsters, maybe it's important to understand that if you want to be in a certain position, you need to behave in a certain way.
Yeah.
So in addition to some of the KPIs linked to the strategy of AIFT, we looked at critical thinking. Now, thinking with a lot of the students that I do mentoring and coaching with, thinking is I spend a lot of time on that because all of them can think, but we don't bring out that ability in organizations. So when I worked with some of the younger program coordinators, and I'd say, "What do you think?" And they'd say, "Well, I don't really know." And I'd work with them and say, "Well, you actually do know."
Yeah.
And when you get into business, when we look at building diverse teams, we want to bring youngsters in to hear what their view is. Otherwise, what's the point? And we really want you to think, what is your view about, this the advert that we have? What is your view about our website? Are we talking to youngsters? Are we doing the right thing? Are we attracting the right people? So it is about tapping into their ability to think. Another area that we looked at for AI was critical thinking. Can you look at something and be confident enough to give a view about, this particular thing. So, did I like the colors? Do I like the curriculum? Do I like the subjects? Is it a bit, how is our course being presented? So we need the eyes, ears, minds of the younger people to do that. And so it's an area we want to develop in our campus leaders, program managers. So those are some of the examples of some of the things that we are looking at developing for the AI leadership. And I must say it's going really well.
Yeah.
The objective of that is to build high-performance teams and high-performance individuals, so that, AI is differentiated from the rest of its competition. And in chatting to them, we talk about who they think the better organizations are in their sector, and how can they make sure that in their world, in their area of responsibility, they step up and in their space make it a lot better.
Yeah.
Do it better.
Yeah.
Be better and be part of a high performance team.
Certainly.
And individual.
Thank you so much for that. That sounds brilliant. And I think that's going to help AIFT improve so much more with regards to individuals and high performance individuals as well. So remember that you are listening to Fly FM, taking you to places with myself, Yudhesh Debidiyal, and in studio we have Miss Jackie Barnard, and she is here representing the Durban Chamber of Commerce and of course AIFT Institute for Future Tech, where she sits on the board for the Senate as well. So remember that our content empowers listeners with good music, education, career, and lifestyle opportunities. And our studio WhatsApp line is 083 756 2625. So if you are getting this content on social media, please subscribe to our pages at flyfm_ZA on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Remember that if you are looking for a higher education qualification, then look no further than AIFT Institute for Future Tech, where innovative learning meets global employability. So we have some new higher education qualifications, and one of the first higher education qualifications that has been fully approved and accredited is the Higher Certificate in Digital Marketing and Social Media, which I am the program coordinator of, well, national program coordinator, if I may say, and my cell phone number is 061-719-4590, and you can contact AIFT on 086-181-9266. So if you are looking for that course or any other qualification, feel free to get in touch with us and we will help you get your career going. So with regards to your background in high performance coaching, mentoring, and mental health counseling, how do these different facets of your experience integrate and support teams at AIFT with regards to performance individuals and benefits regards to that as well?
Okay, so the first thought that comes to mind, Yudhesh, is happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just being a little bit silly. I think also I would say that if you have happy staff, you'll have happy students. And I think what we'd like to do is build happy staff. So if I had to build in a comparison.
Yeah.
A high-performance team, to me, the Springboks are a typical example of that. So if you've seen Chasing the Sun and seen their story and what led them to win the 2019 World Cup, I mean, that gives you a great example of how you can build a high-performance team with the right individuals. Now, if you look at some of those individuals, they weren't necessarily the best players, like technical players, but they were the best fit and the best individuals for the team.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we are looking at building at AIFT is a motivated, performing team that will work well together and get the, when the Springboks won that World Cup, the first time, the second time, everybody wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to do. We want to build a team that people want to be a part of because they are the best. You want to be part of a winning team. You don't want to be part of a dead team, losing team, demotivated team. So that's what we're hoping to build at AI. And having spoken to or coached most of the leaders in that organization, that's something they all want, have committed to, and we've started working on that.